Peace, shalom, Israel. Most High in Christ, bless you all. Bishop Nathaniel here. No, it's not Shout Out Tuesday. I just wanted to chime in regarding the death of Kobe Bryant and his lovely daughter. I saw a lot of comments. I saw a lot of evil speech being said about the brother. And I did want to go through the scriptures to show, because I know some of you brothers and sisters are into sports. You're into the Lakers, rah, rah, rah. I want to go through the scriptures in a short time. I'm not going to be long-winded, okay, regarding death, because some of you are asking, well, Christians I know say, is he in hell? Is he in heaven? What do you think Kobe is? You know what he did? All of that bringing, and it's a shame that people, primarily so-called white people, they brought up a lot of faults that Kobe had, and many of us, many of you, have many of those same faults. So wouldn't it be a shame if at your day, when the sun sets on your life, people bring up the ills that you've done? So let's start off with, let me see, Luke chapter 12. I am going to start at verse 16. Y'all bear with me, bear with me. Luke 12, verse 16 to 21. This is what Christ said. And he spake a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentiful. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits. And he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater. And there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then who shall those things be which thou hast provided? So is he that layeth up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God. Now, what was this parable about? This parable was about many Israelites during the time of Christ were very well off, very lucrative. Like you had Luke, the beloved physician. You had Matthew, the publican, which was a tax collector. You had Joseph from Arimathea, Nicodemus, who was a Pharisee. You had many men and women who worked in the household of Herod, okay, so forth and so on. So they had money. So this parable was directed towards them because our people were under Roman dominion and they were not doing their necessary duty to support the truth, support the gospel that Christ was bringing forth. Christ, the black Messiah, that's what I'm talking about. So likewise today, we have many brothers and sisters who are children of the captivity, children of the slave trade, children of colonialism, who are very well off, yet they will not do their just due to support this truth, to support the gospel and the gathering of the 12 tribes of Israel. From there, let's go to Job, the 3rd chapter. Where is Kobe? Is he in hell? Is he in heaven? Where is he? What's the story? What's the story? Does our love supersede what scriptures say and force us into the kingdom realm of heaven? Job, the 3rd chapter. This is what Job says about death. Job 3, I'm going to read from verse 11 to 19. Pay special attention. Listen closely. This is as Job was afflicted. Why died I not from the womb? Meaning, why didn't he die when he was born? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? You know, stillborn births. That's what we say. Why wasn't he a stillborn birth baby? Verse 12. Why did the knees prevent me, or why the breast that I should suck? His mother nourished him as a child. Verse 13. For now should I have lain still and been quiet. I should have slept, then had I been at rest. So he's saying if he had died as a child, he would have been at rest. Watch this, verse 14. With kings and with counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves. So he says when kings die, they're at rest. When counselors die, they're at rest. Verse 15. Or with princes that had gold who filled their houses with silver. Or as in hidden untimely birth I had not been. As infants which never saw light. There the wicked ceased from trouble. So when the wicked die, their life has ceased and they have ceased from troubling others. And there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there. and the servant is free from his master. So what is Job revealing to us in the spirit? That right now, when we die, whether man, woman, boy, girl, rich or poor, whether we are righteous or unrighteous, good or bad, we are at rest. That's the mystery that the church has kept secret. They will read a parable about Lazarus being in the lake of fire. You can read about that in understanding in Isaiah the 34th chapter, where it tells you that Babylon will be an eternal flame forever and ever, a memorial whose smoke shall rise forever. The lake of fire is not here yet. America will be that lake of fire when you read Isaiah the 34th chapter. Now, let me make sure I got the right chapter, because I'll just start rambling things. Then after I look at the video, I'll be like, oop, I gave the wrong chapter. Isaiah 34, verse, yep. You can read verse, let me look. Yes, from verse, actually, you can start at verse 1. Verse 1 down to verse 9. I'll just read verse 9 and 10. The streams thereof, Isaiah 34, 9 and 10. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched day nor night. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. This is where the lake of fire will be, where all those who are destined to be cast into it shall go. Okay, at the end when Messiah returns. But that day is not yet. Right now we have time to get our lives right, brothers and sisters. So from there, so what did we discuss? The rich, we discussed resting when you die. So Brother Kobe, if I didn't say it, he's at rest. His daughter is at rest. Psalms 44. Watch this. I saw many memes of white people, Edomites, who put out, remember, I saw one that accused him of being a rapist. A lot of memes on that. And I'm like, the nerve, the audacity. And I'm sure if we could peep into the lives of these so-called white people, we'd see much, much evil. And you brothers and sisters that follow suit behind that, shame on you. Psalm 44, I'm going to start at verse 12. This is what is prophetic about our people here in modern day society. Here in Babylon the Great, Psalm 44, verse 12 through 16. It says, Thou sellest thy people for naught, and dost not increase thy wealth by their price. Meaning God allowed us to be sold into slavery. You can read about that, Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 through 68. Key verses that I always like to go to is verse 32, 33, 48, and verse 68 about the slave ships. So again, and God allowed that to happen to our people, our ancestors, because we kept breaking his commandments. So again, Psalms 44, verse 12. Thou sellest thy people for naught, and dost not increase thy wealth by their price. Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us. So we are scorned by the nations around us. We are a derision to the nations around us. Verse 14. Thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people. You know what a byword is? Being called out of your God-given name. Negro is a byword. Nigger is a byword. Nigga is a byword. African-American are bywords. Okay? Those are not the names God gave us. He told us our name is Israel. He told us our name is Judah. That's our name. Our surnames also have all been changed in slavery. So let's read that verse again, verse 14. Thou makest us a byword among the heathen, a shaking of the head among the people. So our brother Kobe Bryant was the same way. Sometimes we tend to think that money can cause us to escape the judgments of God. No, money cannot cause you to escape the judgments of God. Like this byword and being a derision, a shaking of the head among the people. Kobe felt it just like we do. Okay, he's called a nigger just like we're called niggers.
Athlete, the kind of star that was perfectly cast on the Los Angeles Lakers coup, on the Los Angeles Lakers coup, on the Los Angeles Lakers coup, Los Angeles Lakers. Kavita, if I could ask you to stay with us, we're going to go.
Okay, He's called a rapist, just like some of the other brothers are called rapists, who may have done something that they later regretted, or may have been a false accusation. I'll word it like that. Verse 15, this is what David says in the Spirit regarding us. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me. What does it mean, my confusion is continually before me? You know what's confusing? We are taught in modern day society, here in Babylon the Great, the United States of America, that we are to assimilate and to become good African-American citizens, which is fine, to a degree, which is fine. We act like them, talk like them, want to be them, want to marry them, so forth and so on. Y'all understand what assimilation means. In the ancient times, they called it being Hellenized. Modern day term is assimilation. And some of us speak 2, 3, 4 languages. And at the end of the day, they still call us nigger, Negro. We're disrespected. Even in death, we are mocked.
As I know, there's always a lot of hate, pain in the world, and there's always a bunch of terrible stories. And every once in a while, there's a good story. A good story comes out. The guy who got away with rape got his today. Kobe Bryant is a god. I'm here in Charlotte, the home of the team that originally drafted him. Maybe he wouldn't have raped that chick in Denver if he had stayed in Charlotte with the Hornets. But anyway, the point is, dude, it's
by those that cheer us on in the sports world. That's right, I said it. By those very same people that cheer us, run nigga, throw that ball in the hoop. Wow, my niggas are jumping. And then, in the day of death, they're making mockery of you. This is what David was saying. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me. At one time, brothers and sisters, we were the greatest and most powerful nation on the earth, and we shall be so again. Verse 16. For the voice of him that reproaches and blasphemes by reason of the enemy and avenger. So don't think that these enemies of our people that enslaved us, don't think their children love you. You always make that mistake, especially those of you who are well off, wealthy, rich, and famous. Some of you tend to think that white people, because they cheer for you, yell your name, say your name, that they love you. Don't mistake that. Don't, and some of you are even Christian. Never mistake Christian brotherhood for racial agreement. Don't mistake. Those are two different things. Racial equality is not Christian brotherhood. Those are two different things. You be in church about with your little your Edomite friend. This is my friend Bob. We're good Christian brothers. Then when something pop off, Bob turn on you and go, you mistook Christian brotherhood for racial equality. The two are not the same. From there, let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 4. I want to talk about sports. A lot of you know I'm not into the sports thing. It used to be until I got into the truth. I understood the big origin of it. So I generally backed off. I'm not saying if you throw a ball in the hoop, it's a sin. I'm not saying that at all. So don't mistake my words. 2 Maccabees 4 and we're going to read 13 to 16. Watch this. This is during the time of the Greek captivity. Now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch and no high priest. Jason was a wicked Israelite, a wicked black man who wanted to assimilate the nation of Israel unto Greek domination, Hellenize them. Watch this, verse 14. That the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise after the game of discus called them forth. So what was happening? The Greeks introduced the Olympics to the Israelites. What are we reading? 2 Maccabees 4, and I'm in verse 14. They introduced the Olympics to our people, and it drew the young men from doing their duties as priests and prophets to serving the Greeks, and they got involved in the game of discus. Okay, watch this, verse 15. Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. Our people like the glory of the Greeks best of all. Because what came with that? Fame, fortune, recognition, women, all of that came with it. So the young men amongst the Israelites, they cast off being priests and prophets and ran to serve the Greeks in their unlawful game of discus, which was the Olympics, they call it today. Verse 16. By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, came upon our people. For they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they followed so earnestly. That's called assimilation today. I'm going to read that part again. Whose custom they followed so earnestly, and whom they desired to be like in all things. That's why many times you hear black scholars call modern day black people Negropeans. We have a Negropean way of thinking. We have a Negropean way of doing things. Okay, we have cast off the antiquities of our forefathers. Okay, from there, let's go to Luke 13. Luke 13. So again, now you may make your money. A lot of you who are in the sports world, I'm not mocking you or saying you're in the midst of sin, but never turn your back on the one true God. That's all I'm saying. If your job is sports, athletics, don't turn your back on your people. Don't turn your back on the truth of the Bible, that we are the Israelites. Okay, and we must use whatever resources we have to help push the true gospel throughout the earth. Not that thing you got under that white image of Jesus, that false prophet, that image of the beast. Not that garbage. Okay? Luke 13. Now, some of you may be saying to yourself, maybe Kobe Bryant was just so wicked. He was just so evil. That's why God allowed that to happen. Watch what Christ said about that same topic here in Luke 13. I'm going to start at verse 1. There were present at the season some that told him, the him is Christ, of the Galileans, whose blood Pontius Pilate, had mingled with their sacrifices. So what happened? Pilate sent soldiers to kill Israelites who were in the midst of sacrificing, and their blood mingled with the blood of the sacrifices. Watch verse 2. And Jesus answering said unto them, suppose ye that these Galileans were sinners above all the Galileans, because they suffered such things? Verse 3. I tell you nay, meaning no. But except you repent, ye shall all likewise perish. Meaning no, those Galileans that died that horrible death under Pilate, they weren't the worst sinners amongst the Israelites. But except you repent, you shall suffer likewise, meaning the same way. Verse 4. Or those 18 upon whom the tower in Siloam fell and slew them. So there was a tower that fell upon a group of Israelites. Christ says, think ye that they were sinners above all men that dwelt in Jerusalem? Verse 5, I tell you nay, meaning no. But except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish. So because Brother Kobe Bryant died in that helicopter crash, do you think he was the worst sinner of all? No. But except you repent, you can die the same way in like fashion, in like manner. That's the message Christ gave for us, the Israelites. From there, Matthew 16:26. Watch this. Hang on, I'm almost done. Matthew 16 and verse 26. Here we go. It says, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world? What does that mean, to gain the whole world? Fame, fortune, recognition. That's what that means. World renown. Like when you're in the entertainment business, when you're in the sports business, sports arena, you become rich and famous. People love you. They say your name, say your name. That's what they do. Matthew 16:26 again. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? You see that? I want y'all to see that thing. Wow, that thing is heavy right there. A lot of us want to gain the whole world. Now, you may ask yourself, well, how do you gain the whole? What does that really mean to gain the whole world? Well, the Apostle Paul gave us an example in 1 Timothy, the 6th chapter. And this is where many of us, many people, especially in the entertainment world, we get caught up, we get caught out there. Okay? Even in the Christian world, a lot of you ministers, watch this, 1 Timothy 6. And let's start at verse, I'm going to read 9, 10, then I'm going to jump to some key points. 1 Timothy 6 and 9. It says, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. Think about the rich and famous amongst our people. You could think about Kobe Bryant, since he's the topic of conversation, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, Prince, Paul Mooney, Richard Pryor. There's a lot. Think about what it's saying here. I'm gonna read it again. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare. When you want to become rich in this world, famous in this world, there's a lot of temptations, and you can be caught up and caught out there, okay? And into many foolish and hurtful lusts. Think about the R. Kellys. Many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil. That's what it's going into. So what we read in Matthew 16:26, what shall it profit you if you gain the whole world? A lot of our people were very poor. We came from nothing. And they rose up in this world and became rich and famous, wealthy. It says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, meaning lusted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. When they think back on their lives, there are many things they wish they could undo or have not done or did or get caught up in. I'm going to jump over to verse 17. This is what the final analysis is for our brothers and sisters who are rich and famous, wealthy in this world. 1 Timothy 6:17 says, charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God who giveth us richly all things to enjoy, that they do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate. This is the same message that Christ gave in Luke 12 about the rich man who was not rich toward God. To be rich toward God, to be ready to distribute, to be rich in good works, willing to communicate, meaning what? Like Joseph Arimathea, he used his wealth, his finances to support the ministry of Christ and the apostles. That's the job of our people today who are rich and famous and wealthy, okay? That's your job. Every man and woman, we must work as a collective to get the gospel out there, to raise up the sons and daughters of Jacob scattered worldwide, okay? We can only do but so much on our own, okay? But guess what? It's going to be done with or without you. So I pray you brothers and sisters can glean something from today's short but poignant lesson. All praises to the Most High. Brothers and sisters, love you. Most High in Christ bless you all. Stay faithful, stay focused, but most of all, stay in the spirit. Shalom.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.